Well, hello there, and welcome back. Pull up a chair, get comfortable. This is the deep dive. We're the place where we really try to dig into things, sift through complex ideas, big books, important concepts, and, well, pull out the essential bits. The goal is always to give you that solid understanding without making you feel overwhelmed. And today, we've got a good one. We're taking a deep dive into Jack Kornfield's wonderful book, After the Ecstasy, the Laundry, How the Heart Grows Wise on the Spiritual Path. Now, what's amazing about this book, Kornfield didn't just, make this stuff up. He drew on conversations and teachings from, I think it was over 100 spiritual teachers.
That's right, an incredible range. Zen masters, lamas, nuns, monks, priests, rabbis, swamis, you name it. So it offers this really universal perspective on spiritual growth. It's not tied to just one path.
Which brings us to the central question, right?
Exactly. The big one we're exploring today is, can wisdom, like real lived wisdom, actually hold both things? Can it embrace those peak spiritual moments, the ecstasy, and also the messy, complicated, everyday stuff, the laundry, as he calls it?
Yeah, the daily grind.
Right. And how does our ordinary life, just day-to-day living, become the actual ground, the place where the spiritual journey happens?
It's a fantastic question. And I think the answers we find in Kornfield's work are, well, maybe a bit surprising, but definitely practical. This is really for anyone looking for deeper meaning, no matter what path you're on.
Absolutely. So let's dive in.
The call to the journey, why we seek.
Okay, so where does it all begin? Kornfield touches on this universal human thing, this longing. He quotes Rumi, "The moment I heard my first story, I started looking for you."
That's beautiful.
Isn't it? It connects to that feeling, maybe you've had it, of finding yourself kind of lost, like standing alone in a dark wood. It's that ancient feeling of searching for something more.
Yeah, and often that search, that sacred longing, it doesn't come when everything's perfect. Kornfield points out it often arises from difficulty, right?
Yeah.
Or feeling alienated, like you don't quite fit.
He gives examples, doesn't he?
He does. Like the child who felt so unhappy they fantasized about being abducted by UFOs, just wanting an escape.
Yeah.
Or a teacher whose whole inner journey kicked off because of her parents' really violent divorce.
So it's often pain or discontent that sort of nudges us.
It seems so. Cracks us open a bit, maybe, makes us question. It highlights that the spiritual search isn't always born from comfort. You know? You can come right out of the struggle.
It's interesting how society sometimes feels like it's trying to, I don't know, squash that initial innocence or wonder in us, that curiosity.
Yeah, grow up. Be realistic.
Right. He mentions the artist Whistler, who kept drawing kids fishing by a bridge in his engineering drawings. His teacher kept saying, "Get those children off the bridge."
Yeah. Whistler's last try apparently just had the bridge, the river, and 2 little tombstones where the kids were. A bit grim.
But it speaks to that, doesn't it? Like Albert Camus said, maybe life is this long journey to recapture those 1 or 2 moments when his heart first opened, finding that spark again.
Absolutely. And the Zen ox herding story is such a great metaphor for this. Seeking the ox, which represents our true nature, those wondrous qualities inside us.
And just seeing the tracks is the first step.
Exactly. That's the call to awakening, just that first sign. And this deep questioning, how can we love? Who are we really? Kornfield says that's behind so much seeking, even poetry. Like Kabir asking, can you find the thing of true value in this world?
It's about looking past the surface stuff.
Yeah, finding what lasts.
And the start can look different for everyone. He mentions a student starting meditation just from seeing a Hare Krishna monk, right?
Or that math student who had a very intense psychedelic experience with some mushrooms that just blew his heart open to interconnectedness.
So those intense things can be a doorway.
They can be a start, definitely. But Kornfield is careful to add a warning, saying psychedelics are ultimately too limited a path. They don't provide the ongoing practice, the way to live it day to day.
Right. It's not the whole journey.
No, it's more like the story of the Tibetan Lama doing a fire ritual and suddenly feeling this ancient connection like before humans and animals were separate. Or Pir Vilayat Khan's intense trek to find a sage in an ice cave. That call, that sense of something beyond, it shows up. Ready or not.
A moment of grace, maybe.
Could be, yeah.
Facing the inner dragons, the preparation.
Okay, so you feel the call, you see the tracks, but then comes the actual journey. And you mentioned it's not always comfortable.
Definitely not. Chogyam Trungpa apparently warned that a true spiritual path is arduous and demanding, involving, get this, one insult after another.
Wow, okay. So what's the first step in preparing for that?
Well, the very first task is just quieting down. Quieting ourselves enough to actually listen. To hear the heart beneath all the noise of daily life, the distractions.
Getting past the mental chatter.
Exactly. Kornfield used this wonderful metaphor of the dragon princess Eris. She has to marry this fearsome dragon, right? And a wise woman tells her she needs to wear 10 beautiful gowns, layered one over the other.
Okay.
And each gown represents a scaly layer she has to remove before she can truly meet the dragon or, meet herself. We have these layers we need to shed.
So what are the layers? He starts with the body, doesn't he?
Right. Removing the scales of the body. When
Yeah.
you just sit quietly, you start to notice all the tension you carry. Tight shoulders, clenched jaw. Wilhelm Reich called it character armor.
Like physical holding patterns from emotional stuff.
Precisely. And Kornfield tells this story of a student who battled physical pain in meditation for years. Just fought it. Until they learned to just hold it. Hold it with kindness.
And that changed things.
That's when it began to release. It's about acceptance, befriending the body instead of fighting it.
Okay, so body awareness. What's next?
Then comes shedding the skins of the heart. This is where we face those unconscious energies of contraction, things that close the heart down.
Like what?
Oh, the usual suspects. Grasping, wanting things, anger, pride, fear, doubt, and that constant inner critic, the thought weave of judgment that's always sizing ourselves and others up.
That judge is relentless sometimes.
Isn't it just?
Yeah.
So opening the heart means really looking at all that, all the messy stuff, and learning to soften around it, letting go bit by bit.
He also talks about fires of initiation. Sounds intense.
It can be, like facing mortality, sometimes almost dying, as they say, can be character building because it forces you to see what's really important.
Like that story of Nachiketa facing the king of death in the Upanishads.
Exactly. Offered all the world's temptations, but he chose aliveness, the immortal, over the fleeting stuff. It's about clarifying values, seeing beyond the material.
And this leads into something crucial, right? Forgiveness.
Oh, absolutely central. There's a really moving story about a nurse who carried guilt for decades over her baby brother's crib death. Decades.
Yeah.
And then during a meditation retreat, she finally sat with that deep pain, allowed herself to feel it fully. She wept, and then she said, "Came that forgiveness I had been looking for all my life. I felt a grace." She forgave herself and her mother.
That's incredibly powerful, letting go of that kind of burden.
It is. And it's not just forgiving others, like the example of forgiving a stepfather, but forgiving ourselves, too. It's profoundly liberating. It allows grace to flow.
Glimpses of the divine, the gates of awakening.
So after facing some of those inner dragons, doing that preparatory work sometimes, something else happens. These glimpses of the divine, Kornfield calls them gates of awakening.
These moments of profound insight or experience.
The first one he mentions is the gate of emptiness. What does that mean? It sounds kind of empty.
Yeah, the name's a bit misleading maybe. It's not empty, like nothing there. It's more like the mystics talk about the whole universe arising from this sacred emptiness, this great void. It's the boundless potential from which everything comes.
Okay, like the source.
Kind of. And when you really watch your own mind, see thoughts and feelings constantly changing, arising, and passing away, you start to wonder, who is it that knows this? Who's the witness?
So it's about seeing the impermanence, even of the self.
Exactly. Realizing your identity isn't this solid, fixed thing. There's a dissolving quality. One teacher described meditating and feeling their body dissolve like the sky with no boundaries.
Wow.
Yeah. Leading to this sense of no me, no experience, nothing, only a knowing. Or another person listening to the philosopher Krishnamurti, and suddenly the words came out of the trees. Everything felt filled with light.
So it's a radical shift in perception, seeing the world and yourself differently.
You're radically different, more transparent maybe, more interconnected.
Which leads nicely into the next gate, the gate of oneness.
Right, where that sense of separation just dissolves. Alice Walker put it so powerfully, I knew that if I cut a tree, my arm would bleed.
You feel connected to everything.
Everything. Kornfield shares this beautiful story of a Dominican nun. She'd always had a personal relationship with Jesus, since she was a child.
Okay.
But then she had this profound spiritual ecstasy, this samadhi experience. And she described it as Jesus entered my body. And after that, she said she began to see Jesus everywhere, in people who were struggling, in the poor, in the least of his creatures.
Wow, not just in church, but everywhere.
His glory is in the apricot tree in the garden. I feel him moving in this very body I have been given. What a beautiful kingdom to awaken to, the divine presence in the world.
It's stunning, seeing the divine in the world not separate from it.
Exactly. So when that sense of identity expands, when you feel that oneness, Korfield says you find this deep peace with the whole dance of the world.
You can hold it all.
Yeah. The joy, the pain, the
Right.
fullness, the emptiness, it all belongs.
Yeah.
Your heart becomes big enough for all of it.
The sacred everyday living the laundry.
Okay, but here's the crucial turn, right? You have these profound experiences, these glimpses of emptiness or oneness. And then what?
Right, then you still have to do the dishes.
Exactly. Kornfield is very clear. Enlightenment is only the beginning. It's not like you reach some state and you're done. No once and for all game.
So no enlightened retirement.
Huh. No. He says it's an ongoing process. You have to keep showing up, keep practicing, keep integrating it into your actual life.
And that actual life includes, well, the dirty laundry. Even for spiritual teachers.
This is important. He doesn't shy away from the fact that even highly regarded teachers are still human. He mentions, for instance, accounts of Krishnamurti having affairs or struggles with arrogance.
It reminds us nobody's perfect. It's like the Icarus myth, isn't it? Flying too close to the sun.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. It's a warning against that kind of spiritual inflation, thinking you're somehow above it all, beyond the messy human stuff. Self-deception is a real danger.
So denial is a problem.
A huge problem. He talks about the painful results of denial and isolation, and points to historical abuses of power in, well, pretty much all religious traditions, East and West.
Crusades, Zen masters supporting war, power struggles in monasteries.
Right. It's a sobering reminder. He says, to believe in a spiritual life with no shadow is to imagine a sky where the sun always stays at noon. We all have shadows. The key is acknowledging them, working with them.
Which requires incredible humility, like that story of the Zen teacher Danankantaghiri Roshi when he was dying.
Oh, that's so powerful. Facing death from cancer, he apparently flailed his arms, crying out, I don't want to die.
Just raw humanity.
Totally. And then he looked at his students and said, essentially, look, I don't know how this is going to go. Maybe I'll die afraid, maybe in pain. Just remember, there's no right way to die.
Wow. Just honesty, no pretense.
Exactly. And that points to what Kornfield calls ordinary perfection, which isn't about being flawless.
What is it then?
It's about being true to ourselves, not trying to put on a show, be the perfect Bisquick Zen student, instantly spiritual.
Yeah, just add water.
Right. He says, wake up and smell the coffee. How about some good old home cooking, the biscuits of today? It means accepting who you are right now, flaws and all, not striving to make perfection, but to awaken to the perfection around us in the ordinary.
Finding the sacred right here, in the middle of the mess.
That's the heart of it.
Compassion in action, our shared humanity.
And often, the place where you really have to practice this is at home, with family.
Oh, absolutely. The true testing ground, as Kornfield calls it.
I know my own kids keep me humble. He mentions his daughter, Caroline, reminding him, teach mindfulness when he's losing his cool.
It sounds familiar. Family demands, they test our strength like almost nothing else. They call for so much patience, steadiness, generosity.
Well, it's constant practice.
It is. There's that lovely story of the Hindu Swami who'd been deep in meditation, blissed out. But his bliss and samadhi fully returned only when he simply held his little nephew.
Is holding the child.
Yeah, and he realized that's all the world wants, to be held in spite of it all. And Kornfield talks about his own journey, learning to love his wife as she is, not trying to change her. Creating a true home, a space of acceptance.
Like creating a space for Hestia, the goddess of the hearth.
Exactly. Cherishing that real, imperfect connection.
And it extends to kids, too. That little story about the 7-year-old whose waitress asked him for his order.
Oh, I love that one. And he said, she thinks I'm real.
Yeah. It's about basic respect, seeing the person, no matter how small.
It is. And that respect, that care, it naturally flows outwards into community, into service. It's what the Buddha taught about caring for the sick monks. Attend to the sick as you would attend to me.
And Jesus saying, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me.
Precisely. It's recognizing our shared humanity, our connection, like the Indian friend who slept under the hospital bed of a sick visitor. Just simple, profound familial love in action, living the connection.
And this compassion can arise even in the darkest places, can't it? He talks about the mothers of the Plaza de Mayo.
Yes, protesting the disappearance of their children in Argentina. They spoke of learning to walk with fear, to live with fear, yet they kept going, fueled by love and a demand for truth.
Or the Tibetan nuns, imprisoned and tortured, who prayed for their guards.
It's almost unbelievable, isn't it? It shows that compassion is always possible, no matter how horrific the circumstances. It's a capacity of the human heart, deepened by awareness of suffering.
There's that one story that's just staggering. The mother whose son was killed.
Oh, yes, the one who visited her son's killer in juvenile detention. And slowly, over time, through visits, bringing food, gifts.
She basically adopted him.
Essentially, yeah. She told him the boy who killed her son was gone and her own son was gone, so would he stay? She saw his transformation and offered him a new life. It's such a radical act of compassion, turning unimaginable pain into, well, into connection and healing. It's the laundry becoming sacred in the most profound way.
It really shows the power of what he calls skillful service. Even small acts matter, like the old man throwing starfish back in the ocean.
Matters to this one.
Exactly. Whether it's big actions or small ones, in politics, in schools, just in our neighborhood, our lives can contribute, like the stone cutter patiently building that great cathedral.
And the core message, again and again, is that it starts right where you are. Whoever we are is the right person. Wherever we are is the right place to awaken. You don't need to be somewhere else or someone else.
The sacred is right here.
Right here, right now, in this ordinary, precious life. Outro.
Wow. So quite a journey we've taken through after the ecstasy of the laundry. It really drives home that true spiritual growth isn't about escaping life, is it?
Not at all. It's about embracing all of it. The peaks, the valleys, the profound moments, and yes, the everyday chores and challenges. The whole messy, beautiful package.
It makes you think about the bigger picture, the mystery of it all.
It really does. Like Rumi asking, inside the great mystery that is, we don't really own anything. What is this competition we feel then before we go one at a time through the same gate?
Puts things in perspective.
It does. Or that lovely Thai teacher, Ajahn Chah, his simple phrase, "mai ne," which means it is uncertain, isn't it? There's wisdom in accepting the not knowing, the uncertainty of life.
So much wisdom and simplicity. And this whole path, this journey of waking up that Kornfield described, it really is for everyone, isn't it? No special requirements.
None at all. It's fundamentally about love, really. Love and awareness brought into every part of our lives.
Well, we truly hope this deep dive has sparked something for you. Maybe helped you see a little more grace in your own everyday moments, in your own laundry. Maybe you think about your life as your own mandala of awakening, that sacred circle where everything belongs. Finding the sacred in, the big joys and the small chores, it's all part of it. If this conversation resonated with you, we'd love it if you give us a like or maybe leave a comment sharing your thoughts. And definitely subscribe to the deep dive so you won't miss our next exploration.
And just a closing thought, a prayer, really. May all beings find peace in their hearts. May compassion light up our path and guide us through all the ups and downs. And to all of you listening, wherever you are, may you discover the profound truth and beauty that is right there in the heart of your own ordinary, precious life.
Thank you so much for diving deep with us today. Until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep shining your light.